A very good evening to you who is listening to me today. I want to welcome you once again and for taking the time to give the opportunity to listen to me. First of all, somebody wrote an email to me yesterday evening and asking me, yes, Dominic, what is the real motivation of an entrepreneur or any person who is intending to start a business? And no matter whoever you are, I want to appreciate you for asking that question. The real motivation of every entrepreneur is the vision, what you hold to achieve at the end of the day, what you see in the form of pictures that you want to realize at the end of the day. And that is what motivates every business owner, every entrepreneur. I'm sure you know very many entrepreneurs in the world, in the locality where you are, and internationally. But there are some factors that tend to limit some entrepreneurs who begin and quit in the middle. And what are those things that limit it? It is failure. Failure has killed very many dreams. It has blindfolded very many entrepreneurs. You start something in a period of 6 months, you quit because you find that challenge is too hard, and you often sometimes feel, is this the way others go through it? But that is the reality. You need to develop a strategy to overcome the failures. And I want to give you a highlight of some of the few things you can do from my own experience, also as an entrepreneur and as a business owner that has worked for me. One is you need to keep learning. How do you keep learning? You have to read. By reading books. I have told you very many times. I'm sure you can check in other discussions of mine. Learning is an essential tool for every free-thinking mind. If you want to really be free-thinking, full of ideas, innovations, you must continue to learn. By reading books, attending short courses, could be online, could be physically. You need to have such attributes to continuously learn. Otherwise, any failure that you encounter will overpower you. But when you continuously learn, you read other people's stories, you become motivated, you become inspired. If so and so has gone through this, as well me, I can overcome that. And that is a kind of progress that all entrepreneurs go through. Because if you cannot learn by reading other people's stories, then definitely once you start something, you quit. And when you quit, you lose focus of the vision. And when you have lost focus of the vision, therefore we say, as an optimistic entrepreneur, you have already lost the aim, the vision, which you have asked me. The second is you need to have a role model. Who is a role model? Somebody who inspires and motivates you. Somebody whose footsteps that you want to follow, that can energize you to overcome whatever you're doing. If you're interested in starting a school business, go online, read about those who have started school businesses, so that you can read their stories, the challenges they went through, maybe in the first 2 years, in the first 3 years, but how did they overcome the issue of salaries? How did they overcome the issue of increasing enrollment? How did they overcome the issue of raising capital to build the classrooms and also to get recommendable human resource capacity that can support their business? So that is the second aspect. Have role models. Can be physically, people locally in your area that you admire who have achieved something. Or you can read biographies. I always love reading the books of Warren Buffett. I've also read one book of Dr. Lumide from Nigeria. I have read the books of successful entrepreneurs even in South Africa, Vusi Tembekwayo. I've also read the books of a successful businessman in Zimbabwe. And all these lessons that I draw from these inspirations, they really energize you to overcome the aspect of you failing. Because if you don't have role models, people whom you look up to, people who have done great things that you can admire, definitely you have to have even those locally around you. I advise if you can have access to those who are within you locally, it will be a better opportunity for you. But if you cannot have people like that, I advise you read books, because books can reach far. You can have international role models. If you are in a restaurant, look into those who have done restaurant business successful for long. If you're in agro-processing, do so. For those who want to enter into real estate, there are very many books. They are experts. People like Robert Kiyosaki and the groups who have done successful things in real estate. So that is the second thing you need to have to overcome the enemy called failure. The third one is you need to keep changing yourself. How do you keep changing yourself? You keep changing yourself, one, by learning to adapt and adopt. There are some stories you will hear that will be very scary in your life. I have always watched the stories of how the World War I and II came about, and how leaders around the world adapted to overcome those challenges. I have seen the stories of how internet came about, that now every phone is in, even the issue of technology, now everybody has a phone in their pockets, how these technologies were developed. Because people who did these things had to learn to adapt and adopt, which is the only way you can change yourself. For example, what might have worked in South Africa may not work in Kenya. What might have worked in Australia may not work in the Caribbean, let's say Jamaica. You just need to be able to evaluate the context in your area and assess which one really works for your locality. You may have the same type of business, but the food you cook, for example, in a restaurant, may have the same restaurant, but the food you cook in these restaurants depends on the locality. There are some food types people don't eat in certain areas. So changing yourself, changing your mindset is a key element in helping you to overcome failure. And that is something that resonates with every entrepreneur to help them achieve their vision. Number 4 item that you need to keep in check as you work to overcome this big enemy called failure is you have to be resilient. Many of us, we lose the focus because of the pain that we go through when we are trying to achieve in the value of success. And I always tell people there are things you will sacrifice. There are things that you will give up in order to achieve the vision that you want as an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you, nobody who raised this issue, resilience is the key. Nobody makes a great thing to become resilient. You have seen how mothers, how women persevere for 9 months to have a baby come into life. So there are a lot of process they go through. So once you enjoy that process, by being patient, by persevering, by being resilient, there you will overcome failure. And ultimately, your vision, that end goal in the picture that you see, you want to achieve will come to pass. So being resilient is a key aspect in helping you to overcome failure. And one last one, which I want to conclude with, and that you must go with it in your head, is you must learn to also say no. Many of us, we are yes people, and being yes all the time kills your ability. All the time, yes is dangerous. You need to have a limit to what space you can give for people to play around with you. Many of us, we have lost business deals simply because we became too desperate by saying yes. Have you ever experienced a scenario where somebody has an idea and has no money? Then it goes to the person who has the money but has no idea. Then the person who has money thereafter takes over the idea by postponing you who has the idea and has no money, and uses your idea and claims he's the original owner of the idea and I will have intellectual property rights over it. And if you have read the stories about it like that, which I have encountered very many times, it is already aspect of a failure. You have already failed. If somebody has taken over your idea, you have failed. So that is something that you must learn. Learn to say no. Have values that puts a boundary between your line and what others think of what you are doing. And if you interact with somebody, you see somebody as a potential investor, you discuss something, but you have seen the signals of that possibility of them camouflaging your idea, please say no. In all aspects of life, not business alone, not entrepreneurship alone. No is a good word once you understand what the no you are talking about. Don't just say no simply because you feel there are other options that you can do at that particular moment. But have the conviction in you, Norbert, who is listening to me. Have that conviction and know that the no I am standing on is the right no. Otherwise, yes has killed more people compared to no. When you say no, it gives you a step backwards to sit down and resonate and plan well to enable you succeed and reach your motivation as an entrepreneur. And that motivation is the vision that you hold. Otherwise, without all these 5 aspects in your head, in your core mind, in your subconscious mind, it will always make you fail. And these are the things that will help you overcome this failure and ultimately achieve the vision you intend. And that is what motivates an entrepreneur. Thank you, Norbert, for asking me this question and for writing to my email yesterday. Thank you. Please, before you go, you need to subscribe down here and share this video with another person. You never know, somebody else needs this message to have their life uplifted, to have them to have their business come into reality, and they can create opportunity and have more chances for other people to develop. Thank you for watching and listening. God bless you.